right, guys, this is going to be recap for episode 183. 183 episodes of Blue is the New White podcast. I can't believe it. 183 conversations, 183 guests, and just a wealth of knowledge over the years. I hope that this podcast is helping and providing as much value to people out there as it is to me. I know I gain insight after every conversation that I have, and that's the whole reason for doing this. So I hope that we can continue to grow our audience, and continue to have some really compelling, insightful, and educational and hysterical conversations. All right, so we got a special guest for 183, number 183, Mr. Ben Poole of HVAC Tactical. So many people out there already know of him because he's a powerhouse in the HVAC industry. HVAC Tactical magazine, right? The HVAC Tactical awards. I mean, the guy's mission within the industry is known around the country, maybe even around the world at this point. And it was just incredible to get to sit down with him. So a couple of special things about this episode. Number one, it's in person. We haven't done an in-person live episode since, I don't know, probably 2019. They've been virtual ever since. So really great to get to sit down with Ben, who drove 12 hours from Austin, Texas, to come out and have a conversation, in person. And it was a different element, right? There's a different feeling when you're in front of somebody. Not that I don't love having conversations, over Zoom and digitally like that, but there is definitely a different feeling and a different energy when you get to sit down with somebody face to face and have these types of, in-depth, deep conversations, which is exactly what we did. So much so that this episode is actually closer to 90 minutes, almost twice as long as our normal episodes, but I promise you the value is here. So a couple of things. I have switched from asking people what they're an expert in to asking them what their superpower is. I did this for a couple of reasons. Number one, I think that expertise hints toward professional expertise, and that's not always what people are best at. And when we're talking on the show, I want people's passion to come through, so I want to understand what they're best at. And so that's where this superpower comes in, right? I feel like if you ask somebody what their superpower is, it makes them think a little bit harder, and it provides a mix between professional, personal, whatever it is that they feel like they are put on this earth to do.
But what's your superpower makes a little bit more sense, right? Because it speaks a lot more to something innate, right? Something inside you, something that may not be your vocation, but is something you are incredibly good at. So let's start there.
Yeah, I mean, if there was two things, like I've always said that I'm good at a lot of different things. Two things that I'm great at is HVAC and music. Those are two things that I've really honed skills in and taken time because I was truly passionate about them. But I would say my superpower is motivating people, encouraging people, lifting people up, serving people. I feel like that's probably my greatest gift that I have. And I do it not because I feel obligated to do it. I do it because I just feel like it makes me feel like I'm complete, if you will. Like building people up around me is just part of who I am. And I feel like when I can do that, it's like I'm at peace with all things,
I'm just going to run down a couple of things on the list. I highly recommend that you take the time out of your day to listen to this episode, watch this episode. It is a really, really, really good one. And we talked for almost 90 minutes on one of my favorite topics, right, which is mindset in general, right? So a couple of things, especially relating this to in our industry, the blue-collar skilled trades, even more niche down the HVAC industry, right? But how to have that larger-than-life mentality. And this is something, I want to make sure I ask Ben this because he's one of those people you meet, right, and you can tell that there's an energy about him. Here's an example, right? Every time I've talked to Ben and I say, hey, Ben, how you doing? His response is always the same. It's, I'm unstoppable, which is incredible,
right? And that's a choice. That's an intentional response, and it keeps him in the mindset that he wants, and it keeps the people around him motivated, right? Because as soon as you hear that, you're like, holy crap. I think I tell him every time, dude, I love that. I love that. And that's larger than life, right? And so we talk in this episode about how to adopt that yourself, how to live in that way, right? With that type of energy. There's a lot of conversation around that. Also, building people up, especially in this industry. How to build people up, how to help people help themselves, how to really get people to pour into themselves by pouring into them, which is what this industry needs. It's what every industry needs. It's what the entire fucking world needs, right? But at the end of the day, building people up in this industry is so important because we know that by 2030, 41% of the HVAC industry is going to be retiring. So we need people in here that are motivating not only each other but themselves as well, right? And then this kind of spawns into a conversation we had about independent thinking, right? And the importance of having independent thought, not adopting ideals or adopting opinions that you think sound good, but actually using that, storing that in your human brain, your memory bank, and using it to form your own thoughts, form your own opinions, and use your feelings as a compass, and really focus on the things that you value, right? And look at the world as a whole, and just not be overtaken by the consumption of everything that we see on social media, right? So really, this episode is heavily skewed toward, how to get out of your own way, how to look at life through a different lens, and how that benefits the industry. Because I'll tell you right now that the people in these industries, these blue-collar skilled trade industries, are some of the best people I've ever met in my life. But these same people, many of these same people, have such a low opinion of themselves and think that is the furthest thing from the truth, that it is sad, right? And this industry needs to see the value of the people in it, and the people in it need to see the value of themselves. So guys, that's what this episode is about. Definitely don't miss it. It's going to drop. Well, it already dropped, right? I'm just recording this before it drops, so forget I said that. But it's going to be a good one, and definitely take the time to listen. All right, head over to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube. Make sure you subscribe, guys. We're trying to do some really great work here. So if you enjoy the episode, if you enjoy what we're doing, please help spread the word by sharing it, subscribing to it, rating it. Anything that you can do to engage is only going to help in our mission to lift the people in this industry up. Both the business owners in the blue collar skilled trades and the people, the frontline technicians, things like that in the blue collar skilled trades. So please help do your part. Like, subscribe, share, rate, whatever you can do. All right. Otherwise, enjoy the episode. We'll catch you next time.